I'm Antonio Gonzalez, and welcome to Strategy Session, my regular show on politics and policy from People of Salsa. We're here for the 6th interview as part of a series of 8 interviews on the CD34 special election, soon to be held April the 4th. We're at Las Cazuelas restaurant in Highland Park to interview Jimmy Gomez, who will be with us in a few minutes. This series is part of a promotional campaign with 2 purposes. One, to educate the voters of CD34 on the 23 candidates in the special election, and 2, to promote the Sabor de las Americas series or special event for Southwest voter, which will be on May 11th. Many of you may have attended Sabor de las Americas in the past. It's a high cuisine, Latino-themed event featuring the best of Latino inspiration cuisine from greater Los Angeles. Once again, that'll be on May 11th at the LA River Center here in Cypress Park, which is right next to Highland Park. You can check us out on svrep.org. Welcome back. I'm Antonio Gonzalez with Strategy Session, a regular show on politics and policy con un poquito de salsa. Thanks for being with us. It's our 6th interview now of candidates running for the 34th Congressional District Special Election on April the 4th. As you know, Congressman Javier Becerra got appointed to the Attorney General position, the first Latino in the history of California. And we've been interviewing 8 top-tier candidates for this very important, very hot special election, which is just in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks from today. So I'm here with many argue, the front runner, the assemblyman from this area, Jimmy Gomez. I've teased him that he may have the best name in California Latino politics, competitive perhaps with Senator Johnny Mendez from the fine state of Arizona. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let me ask you right off the top of the show, I like to ask this question to warm it up. Why the heck are you running for Congress? It's not the most popular body in America. As a group, congressmen are not well liked by the U.S., although everybody always gets reelected when they run for Congress. You like your own member, but as a body, people don't like it. I'm kidding. It's a very important position. It's a hot race. But why are you running? You have an assembly seat, a promising career. Why Congress?
Well, you know, in the legislature, I've been able to do, in the past 4 years, I've been able to pass major pieces of legislation. I expanded paid family leave, got more money for disadvantaged communities and polluted communities from our cap and trade program to clean up our air and our water, got more money to build parks in our neighborhoods. And I've done a lot, but a lot of the things that we've done here in California are now being threatened by the election of Donald Trump. And it's plain and simple to me. It's like you have to decide what you're going to do. You're going to stay here in the comfort of your own city, your own state, or you're going to go to the fight. And I believe the fight is in Washington, D.C. to push back against an agenda that really is trying to roll back a lot of the things that we have accomplished in the United States during the past 8 years with President Obama and what we've done here in California. You know, these attacks are not just an attack on red states, they're an attack on blue states, they're an attack on kind of what the values of Californians are. How do you build a state that's progressive, that brings into the fold documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants, where we push for climate legislation and environmental legislation that not only cleans up our air, but also creates good paying jobs. A lot of that is being threatened with the election of Donald Trump, and we need to go and fight. That's where I'm going. I know people think I'm nuts. People think I'm nuts that I'm leaving a super majority Democratic state to go to a super minority.
Sweet gig in California.
It is, but it's not about the gig, it's about the fight, it's about the struggle. Frederick Douglass has a quote that progress only occurs through struggle, right? And that's why I'm running, is because that's where the greatest struggle is located. Think about in history, all the big fights. You know, during the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. King didn't just come to California or the places that people agreed with him. He went down to the South. He went down to Birmingham and Montgomery and Selma. And all the people that were in that fight with them, they went to those places too. So we have to go and go into that fight. Is it going to be hard? Yeah. Is it going to be not pleasant? Yeah. Is it going to be very, very divisive? Yeah. But I believe that you have to have somebody that really has the experience to be in those fights, not only against Republicans, but against Democrats who often get in the way of progress, right? And you have to kind of present a new way of thinking to not only people here in California, but the rest of the country. Because there is a feeling that the system and the programs we have in place are not working for everybody.
So, Trump, Trump, Trump. That's what I'm hearing. Not only in this voter education series that we're doing in conjunction with Southwest Voter, the strategy session, but also you turn on the TV, it's all Trump all the time. But, there's this dichotomy about people, the voters, what they want from their members. Is it a national election that's a referendum on Democratic voter energy? Let's face it, Republicans don't have a shot in the 34th congressional district. The Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton fight within the party, or the fight against Trump? Or is it about Northeast LA issues, which voters want, some kind of localistic orientation or support from the federal government? How do you balance that?
I think you have to do it all. A lot of times people always say elected officials, especially like the state legislators, are disconnected. But I think the people who are disconnected are often the weakest and can't get those big bills passed because they're out of touch, right? And I'm not out of touch because I've actually spent a lot of time in my district. 90 community events, everything from tree giveaways to community cleanups to workshops on housing and rental ownership. How do you kind of actually give back and stay in touch so that you can fight on those bigger issues? And when you're rooted in the community, they will cut you some slack on legislative votes. They will believe that you can go and have those hard fights. But you have to be able to do both. You have to think about issues broadly, like my climate change bill, where I directed more money into disadvantaged communities. Well, my area is disadvantaged. We have we have 5-7 freeways that cut through the congressional seat. I did that in order to not only to clean up the air and protect our environment, but also to bring more resources home. Right? So you have to be able to think globally and act locally and bring some of those results home, but you have to do it all. People want to, if anybody that just talks about the Democratic Party and what its failures are, then they're going to fail to actually deliver for the people they got elected to represent. Right? In the end, that's what our job is.
This race is unique to me. I've been in Latino politics for 30 years now, and I've rarely seen a special election with so many candidates on the one hand, but also with such a robust top-tier group.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as you look at their philosophies of the election. I see one candidate who's basically the education candidate. That's her niche. I won't name names. One that's the education candidate. One that sees himself as the working families candidate. One that's the Bernie, or two that seems like the Bernie candidates. I've got another one that's the housing candidate, and one that's the women's health candidate. What's your niche?
I'm one of the most effective legislators in Sacramento. Everything that you talk about, I've actually done it. That's why Planned Parenthood endorsed me, because I actually passed legislation to protect their clinics and help them open up new clinics in areas that are in rural California that they were often prohibited from opening up, right? When I actually passed paid family leave expansion, I'm not a woman and I'm not a mother, but I actually passed legislation to help mothers and parents, right? Education, I actually passed an expansion of AB 540 to make sure that more of our undocumented kids get in-state tuition, right? So every single step of the way, I fought for my community. On LGBT issues, right? I've actually passed legislation to modernize birth certificates so same-sex couples are actually recognized as two mothers or two fathers or two parents, right? So you can't just be one thing. You have to be in the fighting for the different communities you represent. I'm not running just to represent Latinos. I'm representing Latinos and Asians and non-minorities, right? I'm representing homeowners and renters. And you have to be able to do it all, because if not, then you leave one group out. And I always tell people, how you make a decision who you leave out? Right? Who you're not going to fight for. And in my opinion, you have to fight for everybody. So.
Jimmy, the 2016 national election was seen as a change election. You know, I'm a progressive, so I'm, a little freaked out by the outcome. But the change candidate was the fascist. The right populist, Trump, and the establishment candidate, the continuity candidate, lost. And do you see this kind of labeling being carried out in this election? I know that you're a progressive guy. Everybody knows you're a progressive guy. Yet the label on you is you're the establishment, the Democratic elected official candidate. Usually that helps in a special election. Does it still help, or is this a little bit of an outsider, the outsider change candidate versus the incumbent race? Is that anything? Does any of those narratives carry over?
It depends on the candidates, right? Eric Garcetti, he's like the most establishment candidate there is. He's been elected city council member, then the mayor, and then he wins by 80%.
80%.
I'm like, Mitchell Farrell got elected with a decent percentage. Paul Corrett, Kern Price, you name it, all the local city folks have got elected. The difference is in races is people want to know, do you care about them? Are you connected to the community? Have you been delivering? And that's what I've been doing for 4 years, right? And I've been elected for 4 years, not 26 years, not 10 years, for 4 years. But in those 4 years, I delivered. And that's what it's about, right? That's why people, if you actually go and talk to the people in Northeast LA in my assembly seat, nobody really has a bad thing to say about me, because I've been around. I've been a very on the ground, get your hands kind of dirty assembly member, but yet pass legislation at the state level. So I know what people are trying to do, because they think that's the model to win an election, but I'm not sure if that's actually get them across the finish line.
So Jimmy Gomez, at this point, I'd like for you to speak directly to our listeners and viewers, the voters out there, and what's your message to them on why they should vote for you, and also how can they get involved in your campaign if they feel the urge?
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, I just want to tell people that I've been one of the most effective legislators in Sacramento and at the state level for the past 4 years. And I've been able to pass legislation to expand paid family leave, protect Planned Parenthood, bring more money to Northeast LA and to the communities that are most impacted by climate change and pollution. And I also understand one thing, that I can't do it alone. It's about working together. And that's what you're going to get from me. Somebody that's rooted in the community but knows how to get things done, that's been battle tested, that's not only fought against Republicans but Democrats and the status quo, that has often interfered with us taking our progressive values and turn them into legislative and policy realities. So if you want to join the fight, you want to join me, go to jimmygomezforcongress.com and volunteer. Thank you so much.
There you have it, viewers. Many would say the best name in California Latino politics, Jimmy Gomez. No matter what you think, April the 4th is the special election date. I'm Antonio Gonzalez signing off for Strategy Session. Until next time.